quite all right, Inspector. I'll confess.
Confess? You mean you stole it? You've got it in there?
Yes.
No. Leave it where it is. I'll go and fetch Inspector Lestrade at Scotland Yard. And don't either of you attempt to run away.
Oh, no, Inspector.
Is this door always kept locked, Conductor?
Yes, sir. Only the guard and myself have keys.
Got him, Holmes.
Who?
The thieves.
Thieves? Where? Come on, speak up.
That married couple down there.
Mr. Sherlock?
Yes, they confessed.
Confessed?
Broke them down. Gave them the 3rd degree.
And you left them unguarded?
I told them not to run away.
Well, better have a talk with them.
Oh, it's you again.
It might interest you to know that I've just caught the thieves.
Excuse me, madam.
You're the police, I know.
Hmm.
I warned him, but no, he had to take it.
Well, I must warn you that anything you say may be used against you.
Anything they say. They've already admitted everything.
Everything?
Yes, they've got it in there.
I'd be glad to pay double what it's worth if only they won't prosecute. It's my first offense.
You chaps always say the same thing. Come on, hand it over. Where is it?
I stole it. I took it from a hotel in London.
Come on, come on.
In my small way, I'm a collector of teapots.
Teapots? Dr. Watson, does this look like a diamond?
Not very much, now that you mention it.
And what's all that about a confession?
Well, when I came in here before, they said that they took it.
Well, you'll please oblige us, Doctor, by not meddling in police business.
His time wasn't entirely wasted, Lestrade. At least you've recovered the teapot.
Thank you, Holmes.
Teapot.
The fellow tries his best. What's he get? Humiliation and abuse from the start of all people. A good man to chuck up the whole case.
Might be a good idea to let the police do their own work.
You mind your own business.
Oh, there you are, Watson. How about a spot in my compartment?
Thanks, old man. Serve him right if I got a bit tiddler.
Mr. and Mrs. Shawcross. Teapots. Well, we can eliminate them. Professor William Kilbane. I've sent a telegram to the Edinburgh police to check up on that mathematics professor.
Interesting.
Now what?
Well, just a coincidence.
What's a coincidence?
The fact that this fellow Kilbane happens to be a professor of mathematics.
Ah. Come again, Mr. Holmes?
Lestrade, did you ever hear of Colonel Sebastian Moran?
Of course I did. What about him?
Well, then, as you know, Colonel Sebastian Moran was the most sinister, ruthless, and diabolically clever henchman of our late but unlamented friend, Professor Moriarty. I've never seen him, but I've been unpleasantly conscious of his presence more than once. As a matter of fact, he was directly responsible for what very nearly turned out to be my premature death on 3 separate occasions.
Very pretty, Mr. Holmes. What's all that got to do with all this?
Well, possibly nothing. However, his speciality was spectacular jewel robberies. And for relaxation, he was addicted to the study of mathematics.
Are you inferring that this Professor Kilbane is Colonel Sebastian Moran? That he murdered young Carcez and stole the diamond? Well, what about this woman, this Vivian Vedder? What about her? No one's above suspicion. And Lady Margaret. She might have a motive for wanting the Star of Rhodesia stolen. She wasn't very concerned over the death of her son. And this friend of Dr. Watson's, this Major Duncan Bleak, might be just as sensible to suspect him. No. As far as we know, only 4 persons knew the Star of Rhodesia was on this train. Yourself, Dr. Watson, the murdered, the dead lad, and myself.
And Lady Margaret.
And Lady Margaret. I'll have another talk with her ladyship. Lady Margaret, do you mind if I come in?
Holmes.
Leave it open, will you?
Lucky beggar.
Who's a lucky beggar?
Duncan Bleak. Been playing cards with him. He won all the way across, I believe the expression is.
Have you been with him all this time?
Yeah, just left him. He introduced me to a newfangled game. Gin rummy, he called it. American, I believe. A lot of bookkeeping connected with it.
I'm Sherlock Holmes. Do you mind if I inspect a coffin you're taking to Scotland?
No one is allowed in here, Mr. Holmes.
I'll take the responsibility. Excuse me. Does it occur to you, Watson, that this is a very unusual coffin?
I don't know, a trifle ornate, perhaps.
I wasn't thinking of the fittings. Do you mind if we open it?
It's forbidden, sir.
Sorry. Go on, Watson.
But you can't do that, sir.
We'll have to.
Excuse me, please. Little old lady.
As I thought. Shallow. Body only comes down to about here.
You think there's a secret compartment underneath?
There has to be.
Empty.
Yes, but it's been recently occupied. We asked Lestrade to come in here. He's with Lady Margaret.
Right, your Holmes.
Have you let anyone else in here?
No.
Mathematics, eh?
Gives me something to do.
Come quick.
What is it?
It's the coffin. Holmes found a false bottom in it, with enough room for the murderer to hide in.
Huh? What is all this, Mr. Holmes?
There's where your murderer's been hiding, Lestrade.
It's just a question of finding him, isn't it, Mr. Holmes?
Not him, them.
Eh?
This affair is obviously the work of two men, the one who planned it, and the other who hid in the coffin, and at a prearranged time emerged to commit the murder and effect the robbery.
What are you talking about?
Colonel Sebastian Moran.
You've got that man on the brain, Mr. Holmes.
My dear Lestrade, I accepted this case because I was virtually certain that Colonel Sebastian Moran could not resist such a tempting morsel as the Star of Rhodesia. I'm convinced that he's the brains behind this case and that he's on this train.
Oh, and how would you go about finding out which one of the passengers is this Colonel Sebastian Moran?
If he is one of the passengers.
Well, I suggest that you start by questioning Miss Vedder. It might prove interesting.
Huh? Oh. Miss Vedder, I want to ask you a few questions, and I must warn you. Anything you say may be used against you.
Oh?
Now, about your mother.
It isn't your mother after all, is it?
Perhaps if you explain.
That coffin, we've examined it.
And found the secret compartment.
Oh, come on, let's have it.
Have what?
The old story.
If you insist. The man approached me and asked me to take a coffin to Scotland. He offered me £100.
Were you aware that the coffin had a secret compartment?
I was.
What story did this person tell you to account for a man being concealed in the coffin?
That someone had to leave London. Foreign agents were watching the train.
Foreign agents.
All right. Maybe I didn't believe that foreign agent story.
You realize, of course, this makes you an accomplice.
What was the name of the man who approached you?
I don't remember.
Miss Vedder, the man who engaged you to take this coffin to Scotland, was it by any chance this man here?
I say, old man, aren't you making a mistake?
My dear Watson, just what do you know about Major Duncan Bleak?
I've known him for years. He's a member of my club.
I say, is this a joke?
Does the name Colonel Moran mean anything to you, sir?
Colonel Moran?
Yes, Colonel Sebastian Moran.
Why, I'm afraid it doesn't. Good heavens, you don't think that
No, of course not. You have the perfect alibi, Dr. Watson.
Yes, yes, of course, of course.
Good heavens, gentlemen, you're at perfect liberty to search my compartment, to search me. If you find the diamond,
Now, that won't be necessary. The Star of Rhodesia has not been stolen.
What's that, Mr. Holmes?
An imitation was stolen. I have the real one.
You've got it?
My dear Lestrade, surely you didn't think I would allow Lady Margaret to retain the genuine diamond when I felt reasonably certain that an attempt would be made to steal it? I have had it in my possession almost from the moment I boarded the train.
Confound it, Mr. Holmes, you had no right to do that. This is a police matter. Come on, let me have it.
My job was to see that it wasn't stolen. It wasn't.
Look, I don't know what this is all about, but I do know that I never seen this gentleman before in my life.
I shall have to ask you to remain in your compartment until we reach Edinburgh.
Inspector Lestrade.
Huh? Oh,
Telegram for you, sir.
thank you.
I'm sorry, old man. I'm afraid my friend owes you an apology.
Oh, that's all right, Watson. In a case like this, naturally everyone is suspected.
Well, we all make mistakes. Even Holmes is not infallible. And after all, the killer is still at large, you know.
Yes, he is, isn't he? Well, good night.
Good night, old boy. Don't worry.
I think I'll have another little chat with that professor fellow.
Something important, Lestrade?
You have your secrets, Mr. Holmes, I have mine. This is Inspector Lestrade.
Look here. Is this racket going to continue all night?
Professor Kilbane, you told me you were on the staff of the University of Edinburgh.
I said nothing of the kind.
You most certainly did. I heard you. Mr. Holmes here heard you. Oh.
I merely said that I was a professor of mathematics and that I was returning to my home in Edinburgh.
Well, it might be necessary to talk to you again. Later.
You come pounding on this door again and I'll have the law on you.
I am the law.
Then stop barging in and out of my room like a chambermaid.
Where is everybody?
Sure, the chap doesn't want to open the door, probably.
This should help us.
Hello? Who shut that door? Great Scott, the guard.
The murderer came back to the scene.
Derrick.
Look again, old fellow. Scratch. Just a scratch. Like the one on the car stairs.
Small dot. Apparently made of some soluble substance.
Probably a gelatin preparation that melts in the wound. That's why you couldn't see anything on car stairs. The murderer was about to get rid of the body. He heard the knock and became frightened. Here, let me have that, will you?
No, don't shoot!
Hello? That fellow you put on guard isn't there.
So I observe. Strange.
What is? Lestrade.
Yeah. Help me to get him up onto this seat.
He's coming too. Hand me that water, will you? Well, it's nothing very serious. I'll attend to it properly later on.
Poisoned like the others.
gone. The diamond's gone.
Gone?
Yeah.
Hadn't we better search the murder at once?
It's no use, old fellow. The man who killed him has the star, Rhodesia.
What's that?
It's an air pistol, Lestrade, that fires a poison dart. It's quite an unusual design. You were attacked because you had the diamond. Fortunately, this wasn't used on you. Hello, we're coming to a stop. Police. Scottish police.
Oh. I don't feel up to it, Mr. Holmes. Would you be good enough to talk to them?
Certainly.
Thank you.
You keep quiet, old boy. Be back in a minute.
Mr. Holmes, this is Inspector MacDonald of the Edinburgh Police.
How do you do?
I happen to be in this district on another case, and I've received this telegram from headquarters.
You'll want to talk to Inspector Lestrade.
In due time, but I'm in charge here. This is Scotland. You've crossed the border.
We've had a spot of trouble here, Inspector.
And that's why I'm here. And who are you, might I ask?
Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
And the private inquiry agent, eh? I've heard of you.
Heard of him. Mr. Holmes has practically solved this case already.
Watson.
Will you clear the dining car? I'll want to ask a few questions.
Yes, sir.
And see that no one leaves his compartment until I need him for questioning.
Very good, sir.
Inspector Lestrade asked me to sit in with you.
It's a bit unusual, but...
Scotland Yard think a great deal of Mr. Sherlock Holmes. They frequently ask his advice.
Scotland Yard, eh? Where is this Inspector Lestrade?
Watson, will you see if Inspector Lestrade is sufficiently recovered to come into the dining car?
Right, you are.
Miss Vedder, I know all about you, and frankly, you're in for it.
All I did was buy a coffin and bring it on the train.
In my opinion, this is a matter for Scotland Yard.
Scotland Yard's jurisdiction ended when you crossed the border, Inspector.
So you say.
That's a matter of opinion. Miss Vedder is unquestionably in the plot.
But you may not know Colonel Moran, however.
I don't.
Colonel Sebastian Moran, is he in this?
You know him?
Unfortunately, I do. You may return to your compartment.
You said unfortunately.
Aye. I once had an encounter with Colonel Moran. The only time in my entire career I've been bested. The cleverest criminal since the late Professor Moriarty.
And that I concur.
Well, where is this Sebastian Moran?
He's traveling on this train under the name of Major Duncan Bleak.
What on earth are you talking about?
Are you serious, Mr. Holmes?
Constable, bring in Duncan Bleak.
Aye, sir.
Duncan Bleak? But he played for the gentleman at Lord's.
Come in.
Duncan Bleak?
Yes?
Inspector MacDonald would like to see you.
All right.
Colonel Sebastian Moran, eh? It will give me great pleasure, Mr. Holmes, to meet up with that scoundrel again.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, Colonel Moran. You're under arrest.
Oh, so you've managed to convince him that I'm the mythical Colonel Moran.
Not mythical, Colonel. Have you forgotten that affair at Inverness 3 years ago?
I've never been in Inverness in my life.
Do you mind if I search you?
Go ahead.
For an innocent man, you carry strange things in your pockets.
A retired army officer, India.
But you're in Scotland now, and there's a law against carrying firearms.
Well, you satisfied?
Not quite, Colonel. Now I'm satisfied. This clears things up pretty well. We'll be coming into Topham in a few minutes.
Train doesn't stop at Topham, I'm afraid.
I'm afraid you're wrong this time, Holmes. This train will stop at Topham.
You're only delaying the inevitable, Colonel Moran. You can't get away. Oh!
Go! Out of the way, Inspector.
All right, Inspector MacDonald, here's your man.
Who pulled that cord?
It's all right, Conductor. We'll get off here with our prisoner. Constables, take him off.
Quite a struggle, Inspector MacDonald.
Good work, Mr. Holmes. Perhaps I underestimated you. Was it you who hit me?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. You must accept my apologies. Well, that's that.
Where's Lestrade?
Look under that table over there.
Is that Lestrade? Great Scott, it's Duncan Bleak.
I mean, Colonel Sebastian Moran. Come on, old fella, give me a hand.
What's all this about? Where's Inspector MacDonald?
He's just got off the train.
He couldn't have. He couldn't.
Oh, but he has. A very clever plot, Colonel Moran. Your henchmen, masquerading as policemen, come aboard the train, arrest you, stop the train, and take you off.
But this is fantastic.
Yes, it is, isn't it? And it's a scheme worthy of Colonel Sebastian Moran. He planned the whole thing, including the coffin with the secret compartment. And in case anything went wrong, the pseudo-policeman to come aboard and take him off the train before it reached Edinburgh.
Then, where is Lestrade?
Well, I imagine at the moment he's pretty well occupied.
Just a minute, MacDonald. Get over there, all of you. You're under arrest. Now, put up your hands. Driver, take us to the nearest police station. Come on, get over here.
Then the poke in the eye I received from Sherlock Holmes wasn't an accident after all.
That is a matter of opinion. Come on, get in.
Send that over as soon as possible, will you?
Very good, sir.
It's a telegram to the real Edinburgh police, asking to meet us when we arrive.
But how did you know this fellow wasn't the real Inspector MacDonald?
Elementary, my dear Watson. In the first place, he didn't put handcuffs on Colonel Moran, so I had to do it myself. And in the second place, Inspector MacDonald, during the fight, was more hindrance than help, which is not characteristic of a real policeman.
Amazing, Holmes. Uncovering such a fiendish plot with so little evidence.
Yes, I forgot to mention that I also happen to know the real Inspector MacDonald of the Edinburgh police.
Oh, was Lestrade in on all of this?
Yes, and surprisingly enough, he grasped the situation immediately.
It's very unusual. Let's hope he hasn't overdone it.
Very clever, Holmes. You've got me, but you haven't got the Star of Rhodesia.
Oh, but I have. If in the dark I could substitute a big hulk like Lestrade for you, Colonel Moran, it's no very great feat to, switch a little thing like a diamond.